guys, welcome to Sing for Your Supper. Today I'm making the accompaniments for my rosemary grilled pork, which you've already seen the video, I hope. So what I'm doing right now is I am blanching my Brussels sprouts. What blanching means is to cook vegetables or cook anything really in boiling water for just a couple of minutes, just to kind of take the very rawness out of the vegetable. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it out of that water and plunge it into my nice ice bath right here. Take the polar dip. Okay, I'm going to take that right off of the heat and just strain them out with my strainer. And I don't know how well you can see in this video, but it gets this gorgeous bright green color. Throw them right into that ice bath. And this is going to immediately stop the cooking process, because if you just take them off of the heat and don't do this, they continue to cook even if they're not in that water. And we just want to give it a little bit of a cook because we're going to finish roasting these in the oven. So I've drained and strained my Brussels sprouts, and I've put them on my baking pan here with just some rough chopped onions. And don't worry that you have boiled the Brussels sprouts. A lot of people think that if you boil vegetables it takes out all the nutrients, but we really only boiled it for about 2 to 3 minutes. And it actually helps break down the fibers so you can digest it easily. And we didn't boil the living daylights out of it, so a lot of those nutrients, or most of them, are still in there. Alright, now we're just drizzling this with 1 teaspoon of oil, and that is all you need. And I got some nice fresh thyme right from my little herb garden outside. If you don't have fresh thyme, that's okay. Just use dried thyme. I love having fresh herbs on hand all the time. I go out and pick them myself. I send my stepdaughter out to pick them. She knows what all the herbs are now. So that's great. That means she's going to be a great cook when she grows up too. So I got that all picked off of the stems. If there's a stem or two here and there, that's okay. You can just pick them out as you're eating them. And with a little help from my old friend Goliath, a nice grind of fresh black pepper all the way over it. And I'm going to also drizzle this with a little bit of balsamic vinegar. It's going to give it this lovely bite, and it's going to help to caramelize the edges as well. Alright, as soon as you get that done, just toss it with your best utensils, your clean hands. And we're going to throw it in the oven at 350, and just keep an eye on it and see when the edges start to brown up. So I'm going to reuse my little ice bath bowl here and use it as my compost bowl. I always compost all my vegetable matter. And my husband is in the mood for something a little bit naughty today. So we're not going to go out. I'm going to cook at home. So I'm going to make it seem like it's really, you know, a steakhouse meal. So I got my nice big just russet potatoes, and I'm going to make some oven fries. And you would never know that these were not deep fried because they taste so flavorful. So I'm going to leave the skin on. I've already washed them off, washed all the dirt off, and picked out any eyes that you might see. And I'm just going to cut it into big planks. And then we're going to cut them into smaller fries. And we're going to roast these in the oven with the Brussels sprouts. Alright, we got our nice big old steak fries set out in a single layer on our baking sheet. And I just drizzled 2 teaspoons of oil, and that is all you need. Just coat it. Coat all those fries. Give it a good old sprinkle of salt. Now, I've heard some complaints about my salt use. Now, I do have to admit salt is my weakness. But, you know, if you don't like salt that much, just don't use it. Or you can get some sea salt that has a little bit lower sodium content, or you could use a salt substitute. So that's my answer to that. And give a good sprinkle of curry powder. Now, this is a prepared curry powder that I got at the farmer's market. It may seem like an awful lot, but you really want to coat the entire fry with it. It's going to give it a nice smoky, just a touch sweet flavor to it, and it makes it so rich, and you would never know that these were not deep fried. Oh, Goliath ran away on me. Give a nice sprinkle of fresh cracked black pepper. You're going to hear me say it over and over again. I love fresh pepper. There's nothing like it. You know what? I used to hate pepper until a roommate of mine had a little pepper mill. And I started using it, and I started realizing why I didn't like pepper in the first place. Because it was dried out and it wasn't good. So, if you have never used fresh black pepper, you gotta start. Because it is so much better than just that stuff you get in a jar at the store. Okay, just toss to coat all those spices all the way around. And, look at those fries. I can't wait for dinner. Toss them in the oven, 350, along with the Brussels sprouts. Just keep an eye on them, and they're gonna crisp up on the outside, and you wanna make sure that they're nice and tender on the inside. I like to get inspired when I cook, and as I pulled those Brussels sprouts out of the oven, I had a bright idea to put some mushrooms in it, so I'm just slicing up a mushroom here, just one big button mushroom. And I'm going to throw it in that pan with the Brussels sprouts. And mushrooms cook pretty quickly, so it's alright that they're only going to go in for half the cooking time. So I always taste as my dishes are cooking, just to see if it needs any additional seasoning. And I think the Brussels sprouts needed just a little bit more salt. Big surprise. But I also thought I could use just a little bit of garlic. So I'm slicing up just 1 clove of garlic, because we don't have a huge amount of Brussels sprouts. And I'm going to throw that into the Brussels sprouts on the pan. Just give it a toss, put it back in the oven, and we'll see where we are from there. Our fries are looking like they're very close to being done. So I'm just going to taste one. Oh my, okay, you have to try these. They're incredible. I think they could be a little bit crispier, so I'm going to leave them in the oven just a couple minutes longer. Alrighty, I'm getting ready to plate up my dinners for this evening. If you can see these Brussels sprouts, they just have a nice caramelized edge, and the onions are nice and tender, and those mushrooms have just cooked very nicely. And if you could only smell this right now, it reminds me of my grandmother's house at Thanksgiving. It is absolutely fantastic smell. If you are one of those people who thinks they don't like Brussels sprouts, I want you to try this recipe and tell me you don't like Brussels sprouts afterwards. Okay, I know my husband loves Brussels sprouts, so I'm going to give him a little extra, just to be nice. And I've got my lovely curry scented oven fries, and can you see those? They're nice and crispy, and you can have a huge portion for probably the same amount of fat and calories that you can have about 3 or 4 regular fries out at a steakhouse or any other restaurant for that matter. Okay, we are ready to eat. Just take a look at that plate of food. I'm very excited to eat. And on a separate note, I submitted my application for Next Food Network star tonight, so please cross your fingers for me, wish me luck, and raise a glass for Sing for Your Supper. See you next time. Cheers.